Hey guys, how are we doing? It's Martin Cliffe here from Hong Kong in my, what could be called my studio, I guess, now in the apartment. It's in one of the bedrooms here. I just thought I would talk you through my little setup that I've got here as much as I can, both in terms of video and in terms of audio. Now, in terms of video, what I'm using, if I can unplug this one, are these camcorders, which are JVC GZ-E15s, I believe. They're really small, light, compact, really good things, pretty cheap. I've got 3 of them. Most of the time I'm shooting with one camera, so that's fine, as I am here. But I can do multi-camera shoots. Lighting wise, I've got some daylight balanced lights so that I don't have to completely black out the background. As you can see, it's a lovely sunny day out there. At the moment I'm just using 2 lights. Up there I am using a 125 watt fluorescent with a big reflector on it, 75 by 50 centimeter reflector, with no diffuser as my key light. And then just down here, just out of shot at the bottom, I've got a little, I think it's a 50 watt or somewhere around there, light on a little floor stand that's pointing up at me with a diffuser on, just to give some fill so I don't look like I'm in a single light. And then behind me I have the sun, which is a lot brighter. Should mention these are little, well, they're not little, they're big. They're Mekensu daylight balanced fluorescent lights, so they're designed to put between 4 and 5 times as much output out as the wattage says, so they're very efficient. And that's the video. Camera is on a Manfrotto tripod. Again, I have 3 of them. They're the mini photo video kit ones, and they're really cool. Okay, so audio wise, I'm using a Rode HS1 P, because it's pink, headset mic. I also over here have a Rode NT1000 condenser mic. Again, it should be just off shot, but it's just to capture a bit of ambience, hopefully without too much traffic noise, and just give a bit of depth to the voice, because this on its own, certainly in the one time I've tried it in anger, was good, but wasn't 100% there. Guitar wise, snowy, as pretty much always. I'm going to be using this until I get a different guitar, really. But this is my favourite guitar. I have Beastie as well with me here in Hong Kong, but Beastie is a backup. It's always been a backup. So at the moment it is away in its case. So I'll be doing all my videos here with Snowy. It is a 2003 Ibanez Giosatriani JS100, made in Korea. I think they're made in Indonesia or somewhere now. It has the Edge Pro 2 bridge on, which they only made in 2003-2004 because of patents. It also has a tremolo now in the back, which I can't show you because I've got the back plate on, to lock it in place so that I can do country bends and all that kind of stuff. If I want to use it as a trem, I can unlock it and do that. But for the most part of my playing, particularly as you'll know, when I shipped my guitars across here to Hong Kong, I was then using a Dean Les Paul copy. So I got used to playing with a fixed bridge and bends and stuff like that. And basically, this is a fixed bridge with fine tuners and a locking nut, so it always stays in tune. And I really like this setup. Pickups are a Damasio D-Sonic in the bridge, but I don't know if you can tell, but it's wound really far away from the strings, so, well, not really far, but a reasonable distance away from the strings, so it's not giving out as much output as it would, because it's a really high output pickup. But I really like the tone of it. Away from the strings, it gives a bit more fullness. And in the neck I have an Norton, again from Damasio, both white, because they match the guitar, although as the guitar gets older, it hasn't picked up too many dings and scratches, but it has started to yellow slightly, the finish, whereas the pickups are still very much white. Then we have Elixir cable into my rack of doom, which you can't see. Rack of doom. It's a 4U rack. It has 2 pedal shelves, each with RJM mini effect gizmos, switching pedals. I have 4 full-tone pedals, a 70 BC fuzz, a 69 Mark II fuzz, an OCD version 4, and a catalyst, which is a kind of boost pedal basically. Also on the first one I have a Sweet Sound Mofo Vibe, and then I have an Exotic EP booster, an Exotic SP compressor, an MXR Custom Audio Electronic boost, an MXR Smart Gate, and 2 carbon copy delays run in series. And then it's all in front of the amp. That goes then to my Ignator tweaker via another Elixir cable, which is here. And that has vintage tubes in. It's not the stock tubes at all. One of the tubes, at least one of the tubes, is older than me. It has a 5751 tube in from 1970. It has a 1978 tube, so it's probably not quite as old as me because I was born in January 78. But that's a 1287, I think, in the phase inverter. And then a tube from 1985 is the Effects Loop, but I'm not using it anyway, so that's not in the series at the moment. And the power tubes are Russian military 6v6 GTs that I don't know anything about other than they're Russian military ones. They don't have any writing in English on them. And then that feeds a Palmer PowerPad PDI-06 Mark II, basically so I can run the amp with good tone. This amp, being all valve, likes basically to have its master volume at 1 o'clock or higher. The difference is phenomenal when you turn it just to 12 o'clock, and that's really loud. So I've got it going through the attenuator, and actually I've got it attenuated down to 18%, which is the lowest setting before it goes to load box. So that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 dB down. So it's quite a difference in level, but it still sounds good. It sounds much better doing that than turning down the master volume. And this feeds 2 cabs. They're Ignator tweaker cabs. The bottom one has the Celestion G12H30 that comes stock. Top one has a greenback Celestion, one of the new ones. Yeah, nothing particularly vintage about it, but this is a 25 watt speaker. It's a little bit less cutting, so I have the slightly brighter speaker. If you will, we've got one speaker that's kind of doing the low end and the high end, and one speaker's giving us more mid-range, and that's the difference. The greenback's the middly one, and then the high and low come out of the G12H30. And these are mic'd up with, these are SE Electronics R1 ribbon microphones, and they have Triton Audio FET head preamps plugged straight into them, and then that goes off. They actually go off the 2 ribbon mics to a merge box, runs in mono into the recorder, and then we've also got some trusty SM57s going straight into the recorder as well, and these are mounted on amp clamps. Amp clamps make these cool little clamps that just slide in. You screw a little tiny plate onto the bottom of your cab, and then you slide in the clamp, and your mic stays in place, and there's no microphone stands to kick over or knock or anything like that. Positioning is consistent. It's all good. So that's the guitar side of things. It's controlled via a RJM Mastermind, which is there. This is a blue one. I have my black one with me as well. And this is just phantom powered by the 7-pin MIDI cable to the rack, so it can change all my sounds and everything from that. That's it. No pedal board, nothing fancy. Just a MIDI controller going into the rack. Yeah, I think that's about it. Audio interface here is just under my keyboard. Is a Presonus Fire Studio project running at 48 kilohertz, 24-bit. Then into my laptop, basically because my desktop PC didn't bring with me, because I thought, well, it's an opportunity to build a new one. And then I haven't really got the money yet, so hopefully in a month's time or so I'll go out and build myself a desktop PC, so I won't have to use this laptop because it's starting to creak a little bit. And I've got a pair of Adam A5X monitor speakers that are being looked after by Siegfried and Roy. You can't see Siegfried, but Roy is here. They're my little furry tiger cubs. Yeah, and that's about it, really. Now I thought I would just explain, because people have asked me, one, why do I run two speakers? Though I have explained that a little, I'll demonstrate that. And two is, why do I run two microphones on there? So, first of all, with a clean tone, now if I I'll have to do this in post a bit, I think, but what I'm going to do is basically give you the difference in tone between the ribbon microphones and the SM57s first. So this is just the ribbon microphones with that clean tone. And now with just the SM57s. Okay, now what I can't do is give you the ribbon microphones on each speaker separately, but what I will do is give you the 57s separately. So this is just the 57 on the G12H30. And now the SM57 on the greenback. And then putting it all together, so both 57s and both ribbon microphones. Now, I'm hoping that will demonstrate what I'm aiming to demonstrate, which is that the ribbon microphones sound much nicer for clean tones. I'm just aware my camcorder battery is about to run out. But for distorted tones, the 57s come into their own, which I'll show you in a minute. Okay, and a battery change later, we are back. So as I was saying, the ribbon microphones sound fantastic on the clean tones, and really don't need the 57s added in. But the where the 57s come into their own is with distorted tones. So I'll switch to an overdrive sound. Here is my the OCD. Okay, so then let's turn off the ribbon microphones and hear what that sounds like just with the 57s. Now let's switch across to just the ribbon microphones. So, I say I'm kind of clutching at straws because I can't hear this until I listen back. But what I think you should be hearing is that all the body comes from the ribbon mics, but the 57s just give it that bit of bite that helps it to cut through in a mix. Now, this only really works for recording because the ribbon microphones, being ribbon microphones, are bi-directional. So unless you have some kind of shield behind them here, which then means you can't hear your own cabs, then they're going to pick up lots and lots of noise from elsewhere on stage live. So I have a couple more amp clamps in my drawer that just have spots for the 57s, and they'll do for live. But for recorded, the whole full sound of both 57s and the ribbons together give me the tone that I really like. So I hope that's been an interesting look at my sort of rundown of my studio setup here in Hong Kong. So it is kind of small, not quite finished because of the fact that I've not got the computer running yet. I have got my Studio Live 1602 mixer here, but that's in the wardrobe because, to be honest, I don't have a lot of desk space here compared with what I did back in England. And I really don't need it unless I'm recording drums, because the extra inputs would be really useful for that. But just for, I mean, at the moment I've got 5 microphones running, well, 6 microphones running, but 2 of them are merged in a merge box. I left my other merge boxes back in England, so I'm going to have to get my mum and dad to bring them later in the year when they come. But it's just for the 57s, so that I can just run it into 2 channels recording guitar. Rather than 3 that I'm having to do at the moment. But hey, okay. So that's been that. I've been Martin. Until next time, take care. See you soon.